The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 240. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing lady on today. She is the founder of Ironstone Jewelry, and I'm just really excited to have her on and share her tips and story on self-confidence. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Tina Tang. Tina, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
I'll start from the beginning. I started out very conventionally, graduated from an Ivy League level college. I worked as a trader at Goldman Sachs, but I came to a point in my career where I decided I want to do something that I feel really, that it doesn't feel like work, where I feel passionate about enough that every day that I do it, it's not like, oh God, I have to wake up and go to work Monday, or I have to read XYZ because I have to understand what's going on in the industry and not like reading it. So I left and tried to figure out a few things that I like and was dabbling in them as I was leaving. And what it came down to was being a jewelry designer, because I've always been creative. I started designing jewelry, going around different places to sell it, and things just kept, I guess it would be serendipity, things just kept rolling along. And that's what I was. I was a jewelry designer, and I had at one point 3 stores in Manhattan that were my own. I sold only my own designs. And then around 2008, after the big financial debacle, retail started really slowing down, and I was going through a personal transition in my life, and I became a personal trainer, which seems very, I guess, contrary, but I've always loved fitness, and I decided I'm going to try and add that as a supplemental career. It ended up being something that I did full time for a couple of years because I enjoyed it's bringing happiness to people in a different way. So when you help someone feel better, you feel great. And that's what I think jewelry does, and that's what fitness does. And during that time as a trainer, and I saw how passionate people feel about the things they can accomplish physically, is how I got the inspiration for iron strong jewelry. So the jewelry is not made of iron. It's supposed to represent when you do things, you feel iron strong. And the jewelry line is essentially a fitness inspired designed line, where, let's say, someone finished their first triathlon and they're so proud of their accomplishment. And I have a piece that kind of celebrates being a triathlete. Or someone who ran their first marathon, or someone who just finished learning how to do the 3 most essential poses in pole dancing. So the pieces all celebrate these personal accomplishments.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And that's pretty cool that, you found a jewelry line that's specifically, helping people with fitness, because fitness is huge, especially when, like you said, people running their first marathon, doing like Spartan or Tough Mudder. I mean, that's a big accomplishment, all that training for that one day or one event. I remember just doing like an 8-mile run, and I was like on top of the world. So, it's a great idea. And Tina, what's your cultural background?
I'm Chinese American.
Thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
One that I've discovered recently when doing a blog interview with someone who was an athlete and stay-at-home mom. The quote is, "She believed she could, so she did." And recently, I think that when I do powerlifting and I'm in the gym and I'm about to lift something and I really don't feel like being there, I think about that quote, "She believed she could, so she did, so do it."
I love it. I mean, everything has to start with that belief in yourself, right? That you can do, whatever it is, you put your mind to it. So, I agree with you. It starts with your belief and then just taking action, and just keep on taking action until you get that goal. So great quote. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think that also depends with age. So feeling self-confident at the age of 20 is very different than feeling self-confident at the age of 40. I'm 45. I think of it as being comfortable with yourself. But the thing is, I think being comfortable with yourself also is a matter of maturity and just experience. So how I would define it for where I am in my life now as someone who's gone through different things and have felt insecure, is being happy with my choices, even though along the way it might have been hard, and liking who I am. I might not always be happy, but I like the ethics that I have, the way I treat people, the choice I made in my career to do something that might not necessarily make me $5 million, but I really am happy.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, Tina, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I don't necessarily think when you're not self-confident that you realize you're not. I mean, all of us are very consumed with our feelings and thoughts. I think it's only over time, as you gain it in the evolutionary process of just, aging and experience, that you realize when you look back, like, oh, I wasn't very confident. Now, for example, this is going to seem, I hope not too irreverent, but when I think about my 20s, I'm like, why did I worry so much about dating this person or not? I should just have been having fun, because when you're in your 20s, you should have fun. So I guess it's hard for me to say, like, what would it be? I just know that every time I get older and think where I am now, I'm just glad I'm here and not where I used to be.
Thanks for sharing that. And I was like you too, in my 20s, I was like so like depressed and sad as to like, why aren't I married yet? Instead of focusing like, I should just go travel and just have fun. And, I think a lot of women go through that, especially Asian women, right? Because like our parents or grandparents are like asking us, why aren't you married yet? What's wrong with you? Why are you an old maid still? Things like that. And then it comes to our heads too, thinking like, oh shoot, maybe something's wrong with me because I'm still single. But there's nothing wrong with you, right? And it's just, other people's opinions that you're following. And, what was your realization or aha moment when you realized you had that confidence to do what you wanted to do?
Leaving Goldman Sachs, I don't necessarily think I was like, aha, I'm going to leave. I just... And when I gave my notice that I was going to do something else, and then people who would hear about it at work or friends would be like, oh my God, that's so brave. And I don't look at it as bravery. Something inside you makes a decision like, in order for me to survive, and it could be, I don't know if it's like your soul to survive, I had to leave. So it wasn't bravery, but that would probably be the first step towards just doing the things that I knew was more my purpose, what I was meant to do.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I agree with you. When you're leaving a job, you're leaving for a reason. Maybe you're not happy or the environment is, intoxicating or, there's something better out there. I know maybe you've done this before. I know I have. I just sat in my cubicle thinking like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And just picturing that was like, a horror movie for me because I just couldn't see myself, stuck in a cubicle until I'm like 60. And I was like, there has to be a better way. So I think it's just like that desire to do something bigger and better. And, it was hard for me to leave too, because to be honest, I liked my job. I liked what I did, but I just knew there was something more out there. And, after leaving Goldman Sachs, what's your life been like now?
Financially, of course, it's harder. But as I remember hearing someone say once, being happy, having money, and having love, you can have all three in life, but never at the same time. I know we all strive to, but it would be a very rare few who have all three at the same time. Since leaving, I never regret. I don't. Occasionally, if I see someone I used to work with, I'm like, oh my God, they're a partner now, or they're XYZ, the money they got. But then I look at how they look 10 to 15 years older than their actual age. I see that they were, as someone had once phrased, they are working hard for someone else's dream. And who wants to spend 20 years working on someone else's dream? So I just see that I'm making choices where I am happy with them. I feel like I'm doing what feels natural to me. So I never think about work. Someone pointed out to me that you work so hard, you work all the time. And I don't even think about it as work. It's just continuing on with the stuff that I feel like I need to do every day that I enjoy doing.
Thanks for sharing that. And, it's true, right? When you do something you love, you don't see it as work. You just do it. You just see it as, something you love to do and you get paid for in the process. And I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, right? So many people out there complaining about their jobs, complaining about, waking up on Monday, trying to turn off the alarm and sitting through traffic, not realizing that there's always a better way if you're willing to do the work. And like anything in life is going to take work. Yeah, there's days where you feel like, am I doing the right thing? But you'll know because your inner, your gut is telling you something. it's showing you the way that you're supposed to be at. So, I'm glad you were able to find that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey of self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I was actually thinking about the thing you said about purpose. I know for some people it's hard because, I'm artistic and I've always known that. So I've heard people say, well, I'm not artistic. I don't know what it is that I love to do. And I think for the confidence and finding something that gives you joy, it doesn't have to always be works. It's really about doing things that you find fun. It could just be taking a rowing class or taking a painting class. And then through those things that you find are fun, that your heart rejoices in, it sounds so cheesy, but it's true, you will then start finding side routes of what leads you more to what you really enjoy. And just because you're doing a job, that's not necessarily like, I'm an artist and I've always wanted, and my job will be artist. You still can find joy in the job. That's not necessarily what you consider your purpose. But the confidence for everything comes from being happy with your choice and feeling like you have a purpose or you have value, that you're giving value that you want to give in your life.
Thanks so much for sharing that tip. And, I agree with you. I mean, a lot of people say I'm not talented, but I mean, there's so many things you can do. I mean, for me, like creating a podcast, I'm just talking to you like how I would talk to my friend or how I would talk to people outside. And, people just don't realize if they're just their true, authentic selves, I mean, that could be one way of finding your purpose, because there's so many people out there who just feel like they have to be somebody else because of other people's opinions. So, it can just be anything. You could, be talking about cars or talking about health and fitness like you, because you just had a passion for it. You just went ahead and did it. So great tip. And Tina, if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or wanted to buy some jewelry off of you, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
I'm on all the social media profiles, but the website is ironstrongjewelry.com and Snapchat under iron.strong, like iron.strong, or I'm trying to think on Facebook, Iron Strong Jewelry by Tina Tang.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you wanted to connect with Tina, you can also head on over to thetowselfconfidence.com and search for Tina's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Tina for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheena.
It was a pleasure having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Want to learn how you can use podcasting to market your business? Download your free report by visiting our website at thetowofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.